Greetings. I'm bringing you a video today based on a frustration that I have had, and I think I share with a lot of you out there. And that I'm talking today about candles. Nobody loves candles more than we do. We use them all the time. But we probably have experienced more frustrations with candles than just about anybody else because of that. I know we share in common the desire to save money where we can. So we all are doing, all the time we see people sharing their hauls from the dollar store and from Target or wherever places, a little cheaper places. And they can be a really good source of candles. So they have candles. So I myself have bought a lot of them as well. A lot of the more inexpensive candles. But I have to tell you, I have certainly had my share of frustrations with the candles. Novena candles, I'm talking about these 7-day, they're called 7-day candles or whatever. These candles I buy all the time. They're very, very common. I can purchase them even at the Tortilleria we have behind my house here. I can even buy them there. Grocery stores have them. And of course, the dollar store has them for $1. How can you beat it for $1? Well, we all come. This one particular I brought out here. This is to Our Lady of Guadalupe, and I do use this. I like her a lot, and I use this a lot for one of my altars where I offer prayers. I have one particular altar in my house where I offer prayers for friends of the 2-foot and 4-foot persuasion, animals, pets, people's pets, and of course friends and family members who need special prayers. I have an altar set up for these kind of prayers, and I do use the novena candles in there. Well, this one I brought out because I have tried to use this candle I'm not sure how many times. Very frustrated. It's a very frustrating experience because I light it and it burns a little while and then it goes out. And I'm like, oh, what the heck? What is going on with this candle? So anyway, I've had that happen to me before. I've also had it, you can also see, I don't know if you can see, but it has sooted inside here, sooted the glass. So it was burning very hot first, and then it just pooped out. Also, I've had novena candle. I have had one not too long ago actually explode, actually, burst. Fortunately, I was in the room when it happened. So we were in the room. So I'm very leery about trusting them. Also, votive candles. We little votive candles. We love those. Those are great. But I've also had those that actually have broken the container that they're in. The container that I've used, quite often, and the same kind of candles. And I've had that happen to me on a couple occasions. We of course have pillar candles. We all have pillar candles that will not either stay lit, they burn and then the wick just goes down to nothing, or they tunnel, they tunnel. What they call it is the burning pattern forms a funnel shape. It's wider and it goes narrow, narrow, narrow in the middle, and it doesn't burn on the outside of the candle. Okay, so I've had those frustrations quite a few times. I've also had the frustration of trying to buy color candles that are not scented. Now, I know, so many of you love the scented candles, and, I like them for certain things, but if I'm trying to use the candle for intention, for certain intention, I want to be able to dress it myself. I want to use incense myself, of my choosing. I don't like scented candles like even on a dinner table. I wanted them to be unscented because I want to smell the food. I don't want to smell the candle. So, so just buying colored candles that are unscented, it can be very tricky. And finally, and I'm bringing it up now, and this is the point, the reason I'm making the video right now this time of the year, trying to find solid black candles. Solid black candles. Now, I want to stop a minute and explain. I know there are a lot of people who feel that the candle's not that important, and you can even use like a tea light for everything, or a white candle, and even in you know, they don't go by the color of the candle, like in spell work or whatever. And I agree that is not necessary. That's not necessary. But what I want to say is, I hate a candle that looks like it's a color and it's really white inside. First of all, that irritates me. Like, who are you trying to kid? Last year at Samhain, I had this very experience where I did not have, for some reason, I had some black candles, but I did not have the black candles that I needed, the size that I needed. So I went and, we don't have very many local places here to get them. Any, you know, shops, witchy shops, to locally anymore, as a lot of them have closed down. And I finally found one and went, and they said they had one black candle, and I went and bought it. It was just it was a pillar candle, but it was, I think, only like maybe a 4-inch pillar. I'm not sure. But it was really expensive, like really expensive. I'm like, oh, whoa, you know, you saw me coming. But anyway, I ended up getting some more candles at World Market. Now, I normally love World Market, and I'm not speaking smack about World Market, but I do want to say that they had some candles that looked pretty lovely. They looked like they were made well, and I bought them. They came in pairs. It was two tapers. I'm not sure what the price was, but it was a pretty hefty price for 2 tapers. Brought them home, had them set up. I brought several pairs of them. Bought them, set them up, and lit them. And they just, you know, we wept. The black, and then it was just white. It was just white inside, of course. But that wasn't the worst thing. The worst thing was the black on the outside of that candle. I don't know what the hell it was. I don't know what it was. It was not wax. It was not. You take a white candle and you dip it in black wax, which would make sense, right? Just a couple coatings of the black wax, I guess would make sense. But no, that's not what it was at all. And the reason I know this is because I have done a video in the past on talking about, I think it was my, the epic long video that I did on Blessed Wood, Holy Fire. Holy Wood, Blessed Fire. Whatever it was. Well, I don't know. It was a really long video where I talked about the different kinds of wood and things. In there I talked, and then I showed you what I was doing with my leftover wax was that I was making fire starters, okay? This is what we use when I recycle egg cartons, pine shavings, and then I pour my melted wax bits in there. So it makes sort of like a little mini candle out of the egg carton and the pine cone. So when I go to light my fire, my cook fire, the pine shavings catch fire, of course, and the egg carton catches fire, of course. But the wax itself that's in there, keeps it burning like a candle long enough for the wood to really catch fire, to get a nice steady good burn on the wood. Okay, so I use a lot of my bits of wax for that. So I had some of those left over. Oh, the candles, I wasn't going to use them for anything else after Samhain last year, and so I had them with my stash of little bits of candles that my stubs, nubs and stubs, that I melt down for fire starters. And the little black bits of stuff would get in there in that wax, and I could not get it out of there. It did not melt. It never melted. It left little bits, and I don't know if you can see it, but on the top of this one, I don't know how close I can even get to you, But on the very top, you see this black. It's like flakes of, it's almost, it looks like almost like plastic or rubber or something. Doesn't melt. I assume it's like paint. Now, in whose world is it okay for us to set fire and burn something that is made of plastic or something that is made of rubber or something that is made of paint, particularly inside our homes? That just irritates the hell out of me, I have to say. Remembering when you are burning something, you are also inhaling whatever is coming off of that candle. This cannot be approved by anybody. I'm so irritated about this. So anyway, the moral of my story so far is, well, you get what you pay for, right? You buy, and I think there's a proverb, you know, you buy cheap, buy twice. Buy cheap, buy twice. I have to end up going back and getting another candle because this one's not going to work, right? Those black candles, buy cheap, buy twice. I got to go replace them with something else, right? The votives. Now, those votives, I have to take credit for. I made those little votives, and I thought I was doing a good job. But I used cheap wax that I got, you know, from Michael's or wherever, and I'm not talking smack about Michael's, but it's not good, a good product, it's not the right thing. It's very inexpensive. It's not for quality candles, and sometimes it works, sometimes it does the job, but the reason that my candles, my little votives, broke the glass was because the candle wax was not the proper wax. How do I know? Well, this has all led me to a lot of research because I'm like, what in the hell is going on with my candles? Right, so I started doing a lot of research. And this is something that's terrifically fun. I just have this little printout here I have from the computer. Because if you just Google something like, oh, why is my glass container exploding on my candles, or why is my flame not burning on my candle, one of the things that you get as a hit that comes up is this site. I don't even know the site, and I'm not going to say because I don't want to, of course, talk smack about a site, anybody's site. But it is about the fine art of reading the candle and the flame. It is using that for a form of divination, reading signs, okay, within. And it talks about all kinds of different things. And one of the things that really struck me is when I get to things like this. When the glass breaks or explodes, okay, if the glass cracks but does not break, it means there was some opposition that was broken. It may have been sent to the spell to try to deflect it, or it may have been encountered along the way. If it does not break or shatter, then the spell is protected, was successfully defended. However, if the glass breaks or shatters, it means you are up against something larger than yourself. Malicious forces have either protected your target or have been attracted to your working and are trying to interfere. It can also indicate someone is casting against you and you are not spiritually protected or strong enough, as what was thrown at you was larger than what you were sending out. Either way, do a stronger working and light another candle to try and combat it. Or you are buying a cheap, inferior, poorly manufactured item. And I think that's it. Now, I'm not saying that a spell or some force can't interfere with your working. I'm not criticizing that. But I am not going to excuse an exploding candle in my house. I'm just not going to excuse that. That's very dangerous. We're talking about fire. We're talking about glass. You know, we have all kinds of things on our altar that are flammable. This is not to be messed with. This is not to be messed with. So I'm saying, you know, let's use some common sense. Can we use some common sense? It's not appropriate for your candle glass to shatter. It's not appropriate for your candle container to explode when you light a candle. That is not appropriate. It should not happen. If that happens, you got to get rid of the candle. You got to get rid of wherever you're getting those candles from. That's not a good place. You know, and unfortunately, we all know there's a lot of places now that are supplying us couple particular places that are supplying us with all kinds of things that would never be allowed if they were manufactured in this country. They would never be allowed to be manufactured. But the fact that they're being manufactured elsewhere and imported, don't get me started. Okay, but this is not okay. Okay, so anyway, I've done a lot of matters. I did a lot of research. Okay, and I found out some stuff. I found out some sense. It's not that's not it. It's not malicious forces that are breaking my glass. Okay, there's some real scientific reasons that that's happening. Okay, number one, size matters. It does matter, ladies, but it matters, and gentlemen. But it matters with wick. It matters your wick size. The very fact that this candle I keep lighting it and it just goes out constantly. The wick burns down. It's just a little teeny thing. Instead of having a nice tall wick on it, it just burns down and it won't light. The wick is too small for the container. It's the wrong kind of wick, or it's too small. It's too small in size. Okay. The type of wax matters. Okay. You don't use the same kind of wax in a pillar or a taper as you do in a container. There are different kinds of wax. Okay. What kind of fragrance? Is there a fragrance in it? Because when they're making these candles, if they're using everything exactly the same but just adding fragrances, that's not always a good idea. You have to make allowances for the fragrance because it changes the chemical makeup of the candle, right? So you have to maybe use sometimes you have to use a different kind of wax or a different kind of wick or whatever if you're using fragrance, or if you're using color, particularly color. And especially if you're trying to get a dark color, you need to go up in size in your wick because you're not going to get a good light. You're not going to get it to light. Now, if you use too big of a wick, you're going to get it flaring up and, big high flame, and soot and all kinds of stuff. So that makes a difference too. Okay, there's all kinds of things that make a big difference in your candles, and I want you to pay attention. I want you to pay attention. That's the purpose of this video. If this continually is happening, you're buying these dollar candles and they will not light, it's because they're using the wrong wick. Find a different supplier. Buy cheap, buy twice. Don't keep buying something that's not going to work for you. Okay. Will I keep using these? Yes, I'm going to keep using these because I have had some of these that did not happen to. And when I like to have a lot on hand, right? I have to. And now I have also learned that I could, if I wish, because I have the prayer and my intention here in Our Lady of Guadalupe, right? I can put a tea light in the top of this, set a tea light in here. As a matter of fact, some people even put tea lights when they're empty and reuse them with a tea light. And slide it down in there and use a long stick, to light it. That's perfectly safe. You still have the flame, but you don't have the danger of the wax. So I do like that. That's a good use, okay? But whatever I do, I'm going to watch them. The whole idea of lighting these candles and going away, which, you could do that if you're outside. We learned this because in the churches, right? The churches, the candles are lit all the time. The candles just, stay lit. And there's nobody like watching the candles. Well, first of all, those are quality candles. They're probably not the cheap paraffin wax that some of us are using or that's used in here. But but it's also the proper kind of wax for the candles, right? But these, watch them. I would never leave them lit, even though they can stay lit. Like if I was leaving a house or whatever, going to bed, I put them out, light them again the next day when I can be around them. I just don't take precautions with something. I take precautions with something like this. Okay. The little votives, I continue to use the little votives, but again, I'm going to watch them. And now that I'm making, and I do like to make a votive because they're really easy to make, and you can use the little wax, the tabbed wicks, which are already waxed, and those work really well in the little votive molds. And you can make them in all different colors, and they're wonderful to use for spell work. I have the size here in a minute, and I'll show you. If you don't have any little small spell candles, they're good to use for that. Because they burn, I don't know how many hours it takes them to burn. But they're, it's a nice size. I do want to put in a plug for IKEA. You know, IKEA is a really good source. And IKEA, if you don't have a local IKEA near you, IKEA, I believe you can buy online and have it shipped to you. I don't know why not. I'm sure you can. I've never done it, but I know they have a great online store, so they must, oh yes, so they would absolutely ship it to you. And IKEA has a really affordable unscented candles. Ones that I buy all the time, of course, in white, they have them all the time. All the time. They have, a really good buy is the unscented chandelier size, and that's what I have in my hand here. We actually use these in a chandelier when we're camping, and we have a hanging chandelier that takes candles, and it's a little thicker than a normal taper, just a little bit. And it's a nice, it's a really nice quality. It burns really, really well, candle. And they sell these in boxes of 20 for only around $6 or $7. That's a lot. That's a good 20 candles for $6 or $7. They also sell the unscented tea lights in white again for a pack of 100 tea lights for $4. We use those constantly. And I really can attest that these are great candles because we, again, burn them all the time when we're camping. Remember, when we're camping, we're in the Middle Ages, right? So we have we use all, you know, fire and candlelight. That's how we see. And we're out in places with no street lights or city lights, you know. So it gets really dark, and we're really very dependent on our candles. So the candles, the tea lights have to burn. You know, we put them in right before it gets dark. Light them right as it's turning dark, and they will burn until we go to bed. They just burn. Then they go out. They're very reliable, very dependable. 100, like I said, pack of 100 for $4. Now, the greatest thing about IKEA is they also have other sizes. They have pillars, they have votives. They don't call them pillar candles, they call them block candles, I believe. But they're different sizes, you know, like they have the 4-inch, 6-inch, maybe some taller ones. They have some in assortments. But anyway, in white all the time again. But the other thing is they have colors. Depending on the season, they'll have different colors. Like right now, it's getting to be coming up into the Christmas season, so they'll have them in red. They'll have them in, I think they have them in, I don't know what color, several different colors. They have gold and silver, again unscented, and gray, and oh, I don't know, maybe a green, I don't know. But anyway, you know, and then sometimes in the spring they'll have pink or yellow, I don't know. So if you pay attention to the site, you can get the candles. Okay. Now, other than IKEA, you know, I'm always, of course, looking for good quality candles. Anyway, what I'm saying about IKEA, you can trust them. They're very good quality candles. So I thought I was going to beat it. I'm going to beat this, and I'm going to always have the ability to make candles if I need to make candles. Because like I said, I do make the votives, and they worked, and I thought, well, I make the votives, so why not make other candles? I know my daughter made me some pillars a long time ago that were really nice candles, and I thought, well, I could make, you know, really nice candles too. So I set out, and especially the black candles, the ones that I, I don't know if you can see, the candles that I, sizes that I use, right? Well, here's the little votives that I'm talking about. Little votive. Now I haven't trimmed the wick on this. These just came out of the mold. But, you know, these little ones, they came out really, really well. They're a let's see, here you can see. These are usually the little pre-tabbed wicks. See the little button on the bottom when you see a candle that has that on the bottom. Can you see that? It's a pre-waxed wick on the little tab, and you just sit them down in the mold, and then you pour the candle, try to keep it centered. But since they're small, they're pretty easy to center. Anyway, so I made these, and then I got some molds to make some pillars. And I have here a 6-inch mold and a 4-inch mold. And they came out good. They're coming out good. I learned some things. I had to. I learned a lot. I really learned a lot. And I had some issues. I have some, these are what they call the rustic finish. I don't know if you can see that, but they look kind of, you know, they have a little bit of a, they're not real smooth and shiny. Like, these from IKEA are very shiny candles, very smooth. You can really tell it in the pillars. I don't know how many pillars in here, but they can really see they're very, very shiny. These are not. These are what we call rustic. But there is a way, you know, there's a way to make them this way. There's a way to make them this way, and there's a way to make them even more this way that has more like almost a lace effect all over it because of this. Some of them don't have as much. It's just some kind of, and it has to do with how hot the wax is when you pour it, how hot, if the mold was cold or hot, how quickly it cools off, how quickly it sets, those kind of things. Gives you different effects. So you're able to sort of do a little bit in your candle making. But anyway, what I learned, the difficulty with the candle making is, and all the research I had to do, was first of all I had to use 3 different suppliers. I had to use it because I wanted to make pillars, votives, I wanted to make tapers, and I wanted to make, oh yeah, tapers. I have, because I do have an antique candle mold that's over 100 years old that was been in the family, and I wanted to use that to make some tapers. And then the ability to make a little smaller, like a 6-inch taper, because I use those a lot. So I got a mold for that. And so, but anyway, for that I had to use different kinds of wax, different kinds of blends of wax. Okay, so you have to get them from different things. And once you buy, you have to buy different blends. You can't just use one. You know, most people use one, like they just get paraffin or whatever, and they use that in everything they make. Well, you can't. If you're going to make a container candle or a tea light, completely different wax than if you're going to make a pillar, a votive, okay, or a taper. Also, it depends on how big around. Like these, this takes a different kind of wax than something this big. Wick also takes a different size wick and a different kind of wick. There's all these different kinds, and you can go online and there's a lot of information there, but it takes a little while. You have to do some research. Okay. Let's see. What else? You have to prepare your molds. Now, I had some issues in the beginning that I was trying to get the candles out of the molds. It's really kind of tricky to do. And a lot of people say, oh, you don't have to spray your molds. You're good. Especially when they're new. Like, spray them every, like, 4 or 5 times, you know. But they're already for you. Well, no. They're hard. And also, even when they're ready to come out, it's still, there's some suction in there. So it's a little difficult. But the biggest thing that I learned, oh, okay, what I wanted to say was wax. When you're going to buy the wax, look for if you're going to try to make candles. This is only if you're going to try to make candles. It's not hard to do. It's not difficult to do. There's lots of experience, lots of information online, lots of videos online to show you what to do. But the trick is, one trick, when you're buying your wax, remember, it's obtainable in like, what, 10 or 11 pound blocks, most of it, or 20 pound, you know, depending on what. I don't know how big it comes. I bought it in 11 pound increments. Well, you know, it would be like, I think I found one site that had 11 pounds of wax for $17 or $18. Okay, that's a pretty good price, but it would cost $15 to ship it to me, you know, or so. $15 or $16 to ship it to me. So I found a local supplier of wax where one that I could drive to and pick it up. It wasn't that terribly local, but it was, you know, doable. So I did not have my wax shipped. I went to pick that up. I had wicks coming from one place, wax coming from one place. The other thing I learned is dye, especially if you want to make a black candle. Oh, they're liars about the dye. They do not. It takes a lot of the color to make them dark. Okay. But to me, it's worth it. Okay, to me, it's worth it. I really want to see that black the whole way through the candle, or the color the whole way through the candle. Okay, and now the reason, you know, the other thing I want to say is this is a good time of the year. We're all doing, of course, Samhain. To most of us, really begins a season of candles. Like we use candles all year, all of us, but around this time of the year, between Samhain and between just the holidays, right? We're using candles in our house for the holidays. You know, like, you know, just for family celebrations and things, not on altars, not altar use, but also Yule and Also, this is the dark time of the year, so we're doing a lot of shadow work and things this time of the year, which if you use color candles in your shadow work, some people use a lot of dark or other colors, you know, specific colors, depending on what they're doing. You know, being able to make your own is a pretty awesome thing to be able to do, you know, that I can find. So, I'm happy that I did it. I'm happy that I had this experience, and I will continue, like I said, I will continue to make at least my black candles. I'll continue to make colors when I want particular colors. And I'll continue, of course, to make the votives. I would never buy a votive now. It's just so silly. If you want to make a container candle, there's a lot of container candles that are nice to make. Excuse me, but you have to use particular wax for that. You cannot use the same kind of wax for these as you use for these. It cannot be. It has to be completely different. And I don't mean paraffin versus beeswax versus soy. I'm talking about different kind. If it's just paraffin, it's a different blends. If it's just soy, it's a different blends, or it's a combination of paraffin and soy usually, or whatever. But it's not it's not the same wax. You can't just buy the blocks of wax from Michael's and use them for all your candles. That won't work. That really won't work. Okay. The bottom line, what I wanted to share, the bottom line is, please, you know, use common sense when it comes to your candles. Regardless of how experienced, how many years we've all been burning candles, this is a new world right now. This is a new time, and we're getting stuff. There are products available to us, very easily available to us through the internet, and also in our local stores that have not been there before, that have not been available to us. You know, a lot of things coming from places like China. You know, I don't think I'm the only person that, I don't mean to pick on China, but I think it's pretty common knowledge that we know that there's a lot of products that are coming from China getting through that are really do not have the same safety qualifications, safety checks, than if it would be manufactured here in the United States. So we have to be really, really careful. So when you're burning candles, no matter how many years you've been doing it, you need to approach it with a little fresh eye. Develop some new habits. You know, maybe you've been doing Novena candles for years and years. I know my husband, you know, he's raised Catholic. Novena candles, this is like second nature, right? Having these things burning around, but they're different. This is a different kind of a product than you're used to having, you know, maybe. Also, again, any candle that has a lot of, be careful, has a lot of color to it or a lot of scent to it. Buy a quality candle. Put a little extra money and buy it if you're going to buy it, because you don't want to have the wrong kind of wax or the wrong kind of wick. You don't want them to take shortcuts on the wick or on the wax, because you're not going to get good results. And you could be putting yourself into some danger. Okay, so just don't ever put cost over your safety. Don't be too casual with the use. And enjoy your candles. You know, enjoy your candles. Like my IKEA candles, I really trust these. Like I said, I didn't pay a lot of money for these, but I really trust IKEA candles. And so, you know, I can free up my energy for what else I'm doing, rather than worrying about my candles. Gonna burn down my house, right? So anyway, thank you for watching. I hope I didn't go on too much. It was something I really wanted to say. Thought it was timely. So, as always, I thank you very much for coming to my channel. I'm Rebecca, and I wish you blessings.